All right, welcome everybody. We've got people hopping on. Jeff Larson's popping on this morning. I haven't seen him in a while. Susan, Freya, Stephen, Brian, welcome everybody. I think we got everybody muted this morning, don't we? Uh, all right, welcome. I do want to apologize to everybody. I am not feeling super good this morning. So I'm going to try to get through my stuff quickly so you guys can get to David and listen to him talk about profit first for real estate investors. David's a good friend of mine, grew up with him a little bit, a little younger than me, used to work together. Actually, we were partners in this awesome real estate investing coaching business for a short period of time, and love David and his family and Angela and their daughter. Actually went to Disney World with them once, so I know David very well. We've worked on a lot of deals together in real estate through the years. Have a lot of respect for him, and I'm excited to have Dave on this morning as you know to share and care. And there's Chuck. I see Chuck right there in front of me. Looks like he's driving and trying to do this at the same time. But welcome everybody to this month's call. I'm going to share my screen here and get going. All right, here we go. Welcome everybody. Thank you for popping on. Today we're going to talk with David Richter, and he is CEO of Simple CFO. And he's going to talk a lot about that. I actually have some questions for him myself. I know he has a business that does. So he's got the book Profit First for Real Estate Investors, but he also helps people implement virtual CFOs into their business. And I'm interested to talk to him about that and learn about that business quite a bit more. I got to talk to him a little bit on a recent cruise. Got to catch up with him, but I'm excited to hear about what he's got to say today and how he can help people have profit first in their business. It's definitely a problem that a lot of entrepreneurs go through, especially in real estate, because real estate is such a cash intensive business. And I think it's such a need, and I'm so glad that David took the reins and tried to just and made this a full-time thing for him. I'm excited to have him on today for that. If you guys weren't on last month's call, make sure you guys go back and watch him. You guys can go to goodsuccess.com/free for all, or I'm sorry, free real estate calls. And I actually think you can go to freerealestatecalls.com, and I think it also ports there. But and listen to Troy Eckert talk about um, mineral rights. It was a great call. I apologize. Our internet wasn't working quite in the middle, so there's a little bit of snafu if you want to go back and catch that. But Troy did a great job and really helped me understand the whole business of mineral rights and how you can have a great investment and not really have to have a lot of liability. That's one of the things in real estate we don't talk about a lot is the liability. And you get into a couple lawsuits, you get into a couple different things, and like you just don't know if you even like this business or not anymore at times. But Troy had a great conversation with us last month. Hopefully, you guys go back on and look at that. Me since last month. So this is the only thing I'm going to talk about. Partly because I'm sick, and partly because I was sick during all of these pictures. But I got super sick going to Disney World. It's something that our family really enjoys. We love going to Disney World. We're DVC members, try to go at least once a year. And then when we go, we like to take people with us. I think we've only been to Disney World once when we didn't actually bring somebody with us. And it's always fun to kind of get people. This is actually Erin, who's normally on these calls. I don't think she's on right now. She's got an emergency with her dad, so pray for her dad. Her dad's in the hospital right now. But she helps us with the free for all, and she worked for me for many years as my personal assistant. Now she works at her church. But she brought Aaron and Matt and the kids with us. We had a really good time at Disney World last week, and really did just. I know they had a lot of fun. I was sick, and I was having a hard time the whole week. I'm not gonna lie. Even these pictures, like I see my face, and I'm like, I know how I felt during some of these pictures. But we had a good time. And you know, one thing I was going to mention, I was going to make a post about this, and I probably still need to do that. Um, while I was at Disney, I had a lot of my friends that are obviously anti-woke, and many friends told me, "Hey, you know, give Mickey a big kick for me," you know, and I kind of wanted to kind of come back and at least give a little bit of a wokeness update when it comes to Disney right now. I will tell you, you know, we go every year. And we saw this massive progression, 2018, 2019, 2020, it just went berserk. 2021, it was honestly off the charts horrible. Honestly, I was literally in 2021 considering letting go of my DVC and selling it and being like, I am not going to be a Disney fan anymore. I'm not doing this. I'm not spending my money here. But I will tell you, they have made a massive change. It to me, it's like it's night and day difference than from it was a year and a half ago. I'm not saying this to give lip service. Nobody's giving me money for this. I was honestly interested myself to kind of see how this was going to turn out. But I just thought I would let everybody know that I felt like it was definitely much more family friendly. You could even see the scripts that they've changed. You could feel the script that they've changed on the shows and then different things. And I just wanted to kind of bring that back. I think it's easy for us sometimes to pile on and say when we don't agree with things and we hate, what's going on and we want to be against something. But I also think it's important at times to be honest about the situation and to actually be kind of, hey, say, hey guys, like it might be worth going back to at some point if you kind of went anti-Disney. So me upcoming, want to promote some of my friends that are doing some different events. Investor Addicts is one of those events I promote. They actually have an event in August as well, but this is the next cruise I'm going to be going on in February of 2025. So if you guys want to get with this, you guys can get with investораddicts.com. Also, Jim Ingersoll just came out with his next dates for his next deal maker, March 15th through 21st. Make sure you guys make that meeting. It is definitely a must meeting that you guys want to go to every single year. And I love to be a part of that event. Every year I get to be a part of that event. Real estate free for all is coming up September 5 through 7. We just went over this in our meeting before this with my marketing team. And I think we've got 50, 60 people already signed up for this thing. The room only seats 100. So this thing will sell out this year. If you have not gotten your tickets, please let your friends know as well. To me, this is kind of my event. Kind of like I love to bring people to Gary, Indiana, kind of show them what we're doing, but also just to give back to the community, just to kind of raise money for charity, just to be able to learn and network and get to know people and kind of strengthen those relationships that we've got with people as well. So we're gonna have a lot of fun. We do have an offsite venue that we're gonna go to 2 nights. The VIP dinner is going to be offsite, and then that first night is going to be offsite, and then we are going to do real estate horror stories and we're gonna do real estate horror stories. We're gonna do the auction, and it's gonna be a good time. So you guys are gonna definitely want to be there and make sure make sure you guys are there for that. Our speaker lineup this year, I'm telling you, is completely off the charts. There are people that if you were to spend a day with like almost any one of these people, it could completely change your life. And I'm really excited about the speakers that we've got, and I'm honored and humbled that they would be a part of our event here. So September 5th through 7th, make sure you guys make it happen. If you haven't joined the Facebook group, make sure you join the Facebook group. We are being more active on it now. We're starting to get a little bit more traction on it on ourselves and be a little bit more disciplined about posting on it often. But my team's been working hard on that. So make sure you guys join the Facebook group. I wanted to give this just quick thing before we got started today, something I read this morning in Ecclesiastes. For wisdom is a defense, and money is a defense. But the excellency of knowledge is that wisdom giveth life to them that have it. In life, we focus on, knowledge. We focus on wanting to know all about a matter. And that's partly why we have these calls, right? We want to learn how to, and that wisdom is a defense. Like we have that, we have it because it's a defense. Money is a defense. Sometimes we save up. Sometimes I think we save up too much. But I think that, the more I look at money in the Bible, the more I feel like, maybe I need to be more of that, conduit, letting go of money at times. But I know there's also wisdom, and there's tillage, and there's money in the house of the wise. So I think there's wisdom in having it as well. But at the end of this verse, I feel like it really kind of brings everything together in understanding that wisdom is what giveth life, and understanding that, like having the understanding and having the knowledge, but then putting those two together and having the wisdom to kind of know what is the next steps. What do I do next? What am I supposed to do today? How am I supposed to, glorify God in my business? How am I supposed to do what I'm supposed to do today and be the person I'm supposed to be today, every single day? And that's wisdom. How do we put these two together? How do we put business? How do we put this world? And how do we put our faith all together? That is just purely wisdom. That's knowing how to make it happen. Knowledge is kind of like understanding that there's people out there that have $1 million, right? Understanding is understanding how somebody made $1 billion, maybe, understanding how Elon Musk, made all of his riches. But then wisdom is like actually doing it and actually having the practical application every single day. So just wanted to kind of bring that out today. Hopefully, these calls are giving you guys knowledge and understanding, but hopefully we'll live our lives in wisdom and do the right thing and be the right people for a long time. I want to remind everybody to be a conduit, not a bucket, whether or not you're today working hard, trying to provide a service to somebody, and you're trying to connect on that side of your conduit, or maybe you are, maybe you've already done that. Maybe you've been doing that for many, many years, and you're trying to figure out, how do I help people? I think we should be living our life from the time we're young to the time we're old, like being a conduit, trying to connect on both sides, connect to people that we can help, we can add a service to, so we can work, so we can have, being disciplined and saving and understanding our numbers, like we're going to talk about today with Dave. And because you can't have until you've kind of worked and then you've actually, been a good steward of that, and then find somewhere where you can give and you can serve and you can help people with everything that you've been given. Our next call here, May 14th, 10 a.m. We're going to be with Dan Safulski, and he's new to our network, to my network here. But he's going to talk about creating wealth through notes in real estate, and I'm excited to have him. He's actually also one of our speakers at the Free for All event, and I'm excited to have him coming up here at the Free for All event. All right, David, you ready to go, sir? So without further ado, I'm going to kind of leave the mic to Dave, and you can have the floor, sir. If you want to share your screen, you can go for it. Thanks for being on, Dave. Appreciate you, and glad to hear that you and your Angela and your little girl is doing great.
Yeah. There we go. Now I can unmute. Good stuff. Awesome. Thank you, Tom, for having me. I'm honored to be here. I'm going to share my screen. We're going to dive into it. But I'll just tell you right away, I know I wouldn't be here. People like Tom Olson in my life that have poured into me along my real estate investing journey. Hey, he just told you a little bit of the surface there. We could go deep into it. I will say, Tom, what I'm speaking on today is how you actually keep more of what you're making. And I feel like Tom represents this. So that's why I like this group too, because Tom has these principles as part of them. I also feel like if Tom would have been owner of of some of the stories that I'm going to tell today, they probably would have had different endings than they had as well too, because we were part of a company that was doing about 25 deals a month at its highest point. I tell people, it came to a point where we were spending about 26 worth out the door of deals. It's like, what's going on? So this is the journey, my journey of why did I do this? Why did I go hard on this? Even Tom said, he's devoted himself full time to this because there's so many people out here that are doing this on any level. You could be doing one deal a year and spending more than you're making. I mean, it doesn't matter if it's 25 deals a month or one deal a year. It's like wherever you are, I don't want you to be there, but I also want you to have good systems in place to know, okay, I do one deal. How do I make sure I'm keeping as much as possible? So I'm going to share my screen so you can see it, how to keep more profit without closing more deals. So has anyone read Profit First? I know Chuck Glover has. He's read my book. He's a disciple of that book. He goes
I read your book, Dave.
Yes. Tom's read it. Does anyone else? Steve? Yeah, Steven has as well too. He's giving me good props. If you haven't read it, you're going to get a good overview of it today. But if you do want it at the end, I give this book. So if you're here, or even if you're watching this later on virtually, I'm giving you the ebook audiobook because no one's teaching this stuff really. They're all teaching you what you should do or how you should save money or how you can on tax. But this is the nuts and bolts. What do I do when a dollar comes in? That's what this is about today. Because I don't know if you've ever been in that place where you've gone to the cash register and you're like, dang it, I hope my card goes through. And you're doing 17 Hail Marys there. It's like, please, I just hope my card goes through that. I talk about the story of Bob in my book, where he took his wife Christmas shopping, goes up to the register, is like sweating bullets and like swipes the card. Tom would know this guy too if I gave his last name. And it's like, this is where he was a wholesaler doing lots of deals in Texas and swiped his card and like, thank God it went through. But that's where a lot of us get to at some point in our business. Could be doing a ton of deals, could be just doing a few. I don't want you to have this anxiety. A lot of people have financial anxiety when it doesn't have to be there. Like, we can have some relief from this. I do want to tell you a quick story about Joey English, one of my favorite clients we've ever worked with. We're still working with him. He's down there in Alabama. In Georgia. And he said these words to me when I met him in 2019. I hate fix and flipping. So I was like, okay, we got to talk about this. What's going on? We get on a Zoom. He says those words. And I'm like, that sucks because that's like your primary source of income. So like, tell me the story. He said, I walked into my CPA's office. She said, looking at your books, I never get into real estate investing. Like, like it's a mess. And then he said, okay, how bad is it? She told him, yeah, you lost $70,000 this last year in 2019. That was like a dagger to his heart. He's not doing a ton of deals. Like, this is not someone that's out there doing, the 25 deals a month or 100 deals, a month type thing. He was just doing a few deals a month. And he's like, oh my gosh, like, I lost all this money. He said it gets worse. I had to go home and tell my wife, Ashley, because she started working in the business that year. She started working in it. He started working 80, 90, 100-hour weeks. She actually started having seizures because she was so stressed out from the business and just how crazy it was going that year. And I tell this story to people because, like, as crazy as it is for you right now, I promise I've heard crazy stories. Like, you're not alone if you're feeling like, I'm doing these deals, but where did all that money go? And that's why I tell Joey's story. Because if you felt like that, there's light at the end of the tunnel I want to give you here today. If you're newer here, if you're like, I love Tom Olson, I want to get into real estate investing, I want to be like Tom, it's like, okay, I want you to stay away from this, from saying this at any point in your career. Like, it might get rough, but it doesn't have to be like, are we going to make it this next month or this next week or tomorrow? So that's where I want to give you some hope here. Because most people secretly feel in business, we make money but feel broke. That's the pain that most business owners at some point feel. Like, I'm making money. Where did it all go? I make money. I feel broke. This is crazy. I don't take a lot of calls anymore for our business just because I'm out there speaking, traveling, doing lots of things. But the last 3 people I talked to over the span of 3 weeks here, they all said, they said some version of this. I'm probably the worst case that you're going to take on or that you've ever seen. And I'm like, you got to be pretty desperate. Like, to see what our worst case scenarios have been. And they've all told me nowhere near the worst case scenarios of what I've heard. But everyone thinks like that. They get to like, okay, we're going to start doing some deals. It's starting to roll. And then it's like, where did all that money go? Like, we just made 50K on a flip and like, I have $10 in my bank account. Like, what? So that's where, if you're there, I understand that. Like, lots of people go through this. I see this almost like on a weekly basis myself, and I'm not even the one taking as many calls. The root problem, though, let's just cut right to the chase. I am not a surface level guy. So the root problem is most entrepreneurs out there, they think that, and especially real estate investors, right? We think that the next deal will solve all the issues. As long as we make more money, everything will work out, right? Sales solves all problems. I only agree with that statement if you have a system to catch the money on the back end. Like, sometimes sales creates more problems. Have you ever scaled too quickly, or you're like, oh shoot, I took on too many projects, or like you've heard other horror stories? I love that Tom's doing that, the horror stories. It's like, that's where you're going to see the rubber meet the road and like people getting in over their heads. And I'm not saying that's never going to happen. But what I'm saying is the root problem is that thinking that more money solves all the issues. That's just like if you're in a W-2 job and you think that next pay raise is going to solve everything, just making more money. Not if we're not attacking the root issue, is that if we're going to make money, we have to have a system to keep it too. This comes up now. The longer I'm in business as a business owner, unfortunately, I have great stories and I have some not so great stories. And one of them was from a mastermind I'm a part of 2 years ago. I met a guy. He's crazy. He's just a nut. But he is a coach, but also does real estate. And he said to me, like, I'm going through some cash flow issues right now. A lot of the stuff that you're talking about, all that stuff was resonating with him. And I said, okay, like, do you need some help? How can I help you? Like, even if I could do something just to give you some tips. And then, I met him a year later after that. And well, I actually saw him again last week at the mastermind. And he's down to just himself, doesn't have any more people on his team. Like, he almost had to fold up shop completely because of stuff like this. But this is the number one reason businesses go out of business. The SBA puts out every year, like, here's the top reasons, they go out of business. Number one, you run out of cash. You run out of cash, which is really easy to do in the real estate world, especially if you're fixing and flipping or something like that, where it's cash intensive. And it's like, I don't want you to be here. There's ways to stay away, far away from this stuff. But I don't want your current habits to keep you in your rat race. If you're a part of Tom's group, you probably have heard of Rich Dad, Poor Dad, or like Cash Flow 101, the game, like, great teaching tool, absolutely great teaching tool to be able to, for yourself or kids or other people, if you want to get, a group going. But most people's current habits, like in this game, you are literally trying, if you can barely see it here in the background, it's a little wheel in the middle, and you're trying to go from that little wheel to the fun track. This is called the rat race in the middle. There's literally little green spaces called big and small deals that you're trying to land on, and those will help you get passive income to get to the fun track. A lot of us think by jumping into real estate, we're going to the fun track automatically. But then we end up just circling that wheel. Instead of living paycheck to paycheck, now it's deal to deal, green space to green space, big deal or small deal. Like, we're just living there, and it's like we never get out. Talk with people that have been in it for scores of years, almost. It's been at least like 10, 20, 30, 40. I've talked to some people like that long in the real estate world, and they still have said, like, when do we ever get to enjoy this? Like, when do I ever get to enjoy all this money? Or when do I ever get to see that money from all the fruits of my labor? And I'm like, oh my gosh, like, I wish we could have talked at the front of your career. It's like, that's where I want to give you some good habits so you don't stay there. You might have to be there. You might get up and running, and yes, you'll have to get deals. But this is not something that you should be on continuously. This is something, as a real estate investor, a business owner, you can get out of this. So that's why I want to give you this. This is the profit first formula, or the wealth formula. This is how you get wealthy. I'm not the get rich quick guy. I want you to get wealthy and then stay wealthy for a long time and do what you want with that money, whether that's giving, like Tom is. If you're a part of Tom's group, you're a giver. If you're out, like, I go to lots of different masterminds. It's, planes, cars, things, I don't care what it is. We have to have this formula if we're going to actually be stable. Sales minus profit equals expenses, meaning I make a sale, I take my profit off the table first. Expenses are still there to, grow the business and run it. Most people, though, have heard this. Have any of you ever read Rich Dad, Poor Dad, Richest Man in Babylon, or The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People? Has anyone ever read one of those books? Can I get some chats in the comments there? I see Tom shaking his head. Tom's there. I can see him. But it's like, if you've ever read any of those books, thank you. Good success. Appreciate it. That's where, if you've read any of those books, all of those have said this formula in a different way. Rich Dad, Poor Dad says pay yourself first. If you've read The Richest Man in Babylon, a portion of what you have is yours to keep. If you've read The 7 Habits, put first things first as one of the habits. It's like, we've heard this formula, but just in different formats and always words to us. What I want to give you today is not just words and not just the formula. I want to give you steps to make it reality. How do we make the wealth formula a reality in our business versus just something else that someone said that sounds good? Like, I want to pay myself and I want to make money and I want to keep it. How do I actually do that? So that's what I'm going to dive into. This is not going to just be hype. You're going to be able to take some things away. I would encourage you to pick one thing out of what I say today and implement it. It can be business changing. So number one, on this road to keeping more, first you need to find what you need to keep. I know that sounds like, okay, yeah, that sounds good. Like, of course I need to find what I need to keep. And I'll tell you what that means. But first I want to ask you a question. Why did you start your business? Why? You can write it down. If you're really bold, you can put it in the chat if you want to. But why did you start your business? I want you to think of that. If you're driving, don't get in a wreck. But if you're able to listen to this, write down that answer. Why did you start your business? This is the key question, because most people just say, oh, I want to make a lot of money. I want to go out there. I want financial freedom. Okay, if you write down financial freedom, good, but let's go a little bit deeper. What does financial freedom mean to you? Does that mean time freedom? What does time freedom mean to you? If you have young kids, does that mean spending more time with them? Maybe taking them places, maybe them taking them on a missions trip. I don't care. It's like, what does that really mean to you? I did this with one group, and they said, one of the guys was like, I put financial freedom, then I went deeper, time freedom. Then it was like, I want to spend more time with my kids. And he said, it's because growing up, I never felt like there was a lot of time or attention given there. Like, and I want to be, as a dad, stepping in and being like, hey, I want to be here for you when you're going through issues or whenever it is. It was like, that's the real reason, why he wanted to start his business. Sometimes we never uncover that because we're only at the surface level. But it's important because our keep number is tied to that. Because what we need to keep, I fall into two numbers there. It's number one is our need number. Number two is our want number. So number one, the keep number is, what do I need to pay myself consistently from this business? So I'm not, I'm not sucking air or sucking for air. I'm like underwater. I don't want to be there. Whenever I'm there and I'm not able to pay myself, there's always that stress, right? It's like, oh my gosh, I hope that deal closes, or I don't know where we're going to eat next week. It's like, I don't want to be living there because you can't make any higher level decisions than survival mode. But I need to get out of there. That might be if you're in a W-2 job right now and you've found Tom's group and Tom's helping you get to like be a real estate investor. It's almost like, what's my number to escape my W-2 world? Like, what would that be on a monthly basis that my business needs to provide for me so I can feel pretty confident in taking that larger leap into the real estate world? And the want number is like, okay, if my need number is like 5K a month, what would 50K do? Like, would that get me closer to my why number? Like why I started this business? That want number is for you to have fun, to be able to say, this is really why I started it. I started it, yes, to be able to keep more, to do what I was born to do. What, like Tom takes lots of trips, gives to lots of different things. That's one of his big reasons. Another big reason of Tom's, I know, because he broadcasts it, is he wants to flip Gary. So a lot of the money he makes, he keeps in order to be able to go after that goal. I mean, he's got some huge goals. So it's like, wherever your goals are right now for you and why you started your company and your business, it's like, I want you to have key numbers that mean something to you. Because what separates your real estate business from any other business out there that's doing the exact same types of things is you. It's you, your family, your situation. So it's like, what do we really need in order for my situation to work? Because no one else has your exact situation. So that's why this number is so important. I also give this at the end too, because this is its own. I do this during a workshop where we dive into your keep number, and I give you a form where you can go through, fill out that form and say, this is my number, and it pulls that number out of you. So you get that at the end too. Why is this so important to me though? I want to tell you about, that's my daughter, Eleanor. And she had a dress up day at school a few months back. But before that, I took this story from the book Crucial Conversations. Absolutely great book. Read chapter 10. It's called Retaking Your Pen and Rewriting Your Story. Because when you're born with your pen in your hand. That's your self-worth, and you start writing your story. Especially as you get a little bit older and as you're before school age, you've got your pen grasp firmly and you're writing at your own story. But then you get a little bit older, like school age, where my daughter had this dress up day a few months ago. I saw this in action where someone, like she didn't have her pen in her hand, where she had a dress up day. It was Sunday night. She got all of her stuff ready to go. And then Monday morning, got up super early, put everything on, said, Dad, let's go to school. I'm like, it's still an hour until we need to get. It's like, okay, just wait. So then we got in the car, went to school, all the way there, chat, 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 chat. She's super excited about this dress up day. 5 minutes before we get there, though, she gets really quiet. And I'm like, Eleanor, what's going on? She said, do you think it's really the dress up day, Dad? Do you really think it's this dress up day, or are people going to make fun of me? Am I going to be the only one like this? And I'm like, oh man, I know what's going on. Like in my head, I knew the conversation, like as she starts to mature and grow older, that I'm going to have these conversations with her. And I said, you're beautiful. Walk in there, be confident. If you're the only one dressed up, you're going to look like $1,000,000. She walks in, has a great day. And I'm like, that was her as a young kid, 6, 7 years old, like other 6-year-olds taking her pen from her, other snotty-nosed little brats. And it's like, but as we get older, it gets harder, right? Junior high, high school, how do we fit in? How are we part of the crowd? Even if we don't fit in with the crowd, how do we fit in with the crowd we actually fit in? It's like, that's where we want acceptance more than being authentic. And that's where if you take back your pen, you know, a lot, if you're here today, you took back your pen at some point. You said, I want to invest my time on a Tuesday at 11 a.m. Eastern, 10 p.m. or 10 a.m. Central. And like, I want to learn, I want to grow. You said, I'm going to take back my pen. I'm going to invest in Tom and his community. I like what he stands for. And that's where, if you're a real estate investor, you took back your pen to start your company, or a business owner, that's where you've taken your pen back. Where a lot of people give up their pen again is when it comes to the money they actually need to bring home. Usually they set their goals based off what someone says or a number they pull out of their rear. You know, it's like there's no rhyme or reason to how many deals they do, to how much money they want to make. It's like that's honestly giving a form of control over to someone else. Like you see Facebook guru land out there, like all the ads that run and that you open up, and it's like all the scarcity mentality and all that stuff driving the sales to them. They're all wanting you to do more, more, more. But should we do more, more, more? I'm not saying you shouldn't do more if that's what you're built for. But if you're not built for that, that's okay too. But no one ever talks about that because that doesn't sell. So it's like, that's where I want you to take back your pen and just say, what do I need from my company? That's where a lot of people say, I need to have this for my business because I'd rather me control my business than have my business controlling me. That's where, like I said, I want to give you that step-by-step form at the end. So you fill that out. So it's just one page and it goes through asking you questions and how to pull that number out of your keep number. Because I feel like that's one big way to help you get to where you want to be faster. That's where with Joey, I sat down with him, did this keep number form, and he said he went back with his wife, filled it out, and found his numbers, the need and want. And he said, David, guess how many deals I need to do? I'm like, well, you took it a step further. You know, like you didn't just find the number, you attached the deals to it. And he's like, in order to do this need number, guess how many deals? I said back to maybe one a month. And he said, no, 5 deals in 2020 I need to do. Just 5, just to hit my need number so I don't have to worry. He's like, that was like a weight lifted off my shoulder once I realized that, because that didn't mean 80, 90, 100-hour weeks. I don't have to have Ashley working in the business all the time. I don't need to lose a ton of money just to feel like I'm successful and doing more. And that to me, like there, I could just stop it there. Like, because so many people just let other people run them and their business. I don't want that for you. Take back your pen, get that keep number here at the end. And I want you to go back there and find that. If you've already found that, number 2 might be for you here. Creating the wealth system. If we're going to make the wealth formula that I showed you, the sales minus profit equals expenses, the thing that we've heard from every other book, this is why I clung to profit first. And honestly, why, Tom, I chose to go all in, because it wasn't just words anymore. It was a system. I love systems. If Tom knows me, Tom knows I love systems. And it's like, that's for me. This was the financial system that anyone, whether you have a financial background or not, whether you just came in guns blazing saying, I just want to light the real estate world on fire and I want to go out there and do 1 million deals. No matter what, we can create a simple wealth system from here and make that wealth formula a reality. But first, I want to tell you that a lot of people have money problems, and it usually stems from a lack of a system. Like I tell the story of my wife and I, Angela and myself, like I'm the ultimate saver. She's the ultimate spender in my mind. And it's like, I'm right, she's wrong early on in our marriage. And I'm like, we would have these money fights, just like a tug of war right there. Thankfully, had a lot of good people pour into me and be able to see it and be able to have a good conversation. A part of that, why I'm so adamant about profit first too, is it gave me a simple system to talk to my wife, who was not a business owner, didn't want to be in the business much at all, and being able to be on the same page together and at least have a system to talk about it. You'll see here, there's some things that are just very simple that no matter where you are on your journey, you're going to be able to have easier conversations around money as well if you put that system in place. But I know this is the number 2 cause of divorce. Number 1's infidelity. Number 2 is infidelity with money. So it's like, I know that this touches so many lives, and it's like, if we just have a simple system in place, it might give you the starting point, the foundation to have healthier conversations. I'm not saying they're going to be easy. You picked to be a part of Tom's group. You did not pick the easy life. You picked the life where if you invest the time now, you're going to have better times and be able to help other people. And we weren't called to do easy things. We were called to do hard things. I will say, setting up the system is the easy part. It's the follow through. Number 3, and keeping it going. That's the one where it trips a lot of people up. But I want to at least give you the base foundation here. First, are you one of those entrepreneurs, though, that have the one big black hole account where Chris Noggle came on the podcast and called it this one time. And I'm like, that's such a great term. It's where the money comes in and it gets sucked right back out. And it's just a black hole, never to be seen again. Where did that money go? If you have one big bank account where all that money goes in and out of, it's very easy to lose track of it. That's why I want to give you what Profit First is built on. And that's what, before I get to the actual system, there's 3 numbers I want you to know as an investor and as a business owner. Make, spend, and keep. Like, I can't make it more simple than this. If you know and can control what comes in, what goes out, and what I actually get to keep, you'll be light years ahead of the traditional business owner out there. Most business owners could not give me this. They might think they know what's going on, but they can't say, this is what I made last month. This is where I spent it and how much. This is how much I actually kept from the business. A lot of people are just running it and gunning it. It's the Wild West out there. So this system helps you conquer that black hole and helps you know these numbers in your business as well, too, without being a financial genius. The modernized envelope system, this is what Profit First is built on, the actual system behind it. It's a lot like the envelope system. So whether you love Dave Ramsey or hate him, he's made this very popular in the personal finance world, the envelope system. There's also just, people might have done this in your past, maybe a parent, a grandparent, someone like that, where they would literally stuff money in envelopes and name them certain expense items like groceries, utilities, rent, mortgage, whatever it might be. I want to do that with you, but with bank accounts for your business, because the whole principle behind this is being intentional with every dollar that comes in through your hands. What do I do with every dollar? So I want to give every dollar a name. And if we do that, and if we name it, we can control it a lot better and be able to keep the money that we want to keep. Here's the first 3 accounts. I'm a big Harry Potter, Star Wars fan. I mean, look at me. I fit that MO. And it's like, if you want to have a business that serves you, I call the first 3 accounts the golden trio of accounts, because in those big epic movie sagas, you've got, like Luke, Han, Leia, Harry, Ron, Hermione, making sure good wins in the end. Your business is your epic saga. Only it's way more important than Star Wars and Harry Potter. It's your legacy that you're going to pass down. We need to make sure that you have heroes in your business fighting the good fight today and whenever you want to pass the baton to the next generation. So like, this is why it's so important and why I'm helping you today, because I want to give you foundational principles that you can use today for the rest of your business life. So what are the first 3 accounts to set up that'll help you name your money better and keep more of it? Here's the first 3. These are the keep accounts, the golden trio: profit, owner's comp, and owner's tax. These are the first 3. These all help you keep more. That's why I put keep there in parentheses. These are the keep accounts. Profit and owner's comp. I always get the question, what's the difference between those 2? Profit is the icing on the cake. Remember in point number 1, how I asked you, what is your keep number? Like, what do you really need to keep from your business? And that's what point number 1 is all about, or the first bank account. It's about making sure that you have the profit there for your why. Why did you start your business? The profit account helps fuel that. Also, you take it out quarterly. This is more like a quarterly bonus. We just had quarter 2 of 2024 start yesterday on April 1st. That's where a lot of our clients take out a profit draw from their profit account and say, this is the money I actually made, and I'm going to use it, and I'm going to use it for what I want to. That's what the profit account is for. Owner's comp is all about what I was talking about in point number 1 for your actual keep number of like, what do you need on a consistent basis to pay yourself? So the first one, profit, is that why. Why did you start it? That's more like your want number, where the owner's comp is more the need. Like, what do I need to pay myself consistently so I'm not in my own rat race? But now you have a physical bank account. It's not just me with some fancy words with point number 1 telling you should do this. You will now have a goalpost. You're going to have a bank account dedicated to paying yourself. And that way you can fill up the money in there to see how much do I have to pay myself? And is this going to be weekly, bi-weekly, monthly? It's more frequent that you pay yourself from that account as well, too, because you're paying you for the work you do in the business. Then owner's tax. If you're going to pay taxes at tax time, if you're going to have an active company without much depreciation or getting your tax liability to 0, then your owner's tax account is there. So when tax time rolls around, just like it is right now, making sure you're not sweating bullets of like, oh my gosh, I just got the tax bill, I owe X amount of dollars. Where's that going to come from? That's to give you peace of mind throughout the year. Stuff a little bit of money in the tax account so that way you don't have to worry when tax time comes. What are the other foundational accounts? Income, OPEX, and OPM. So you say, okay, what does income mean then? That's what you make. I would separate out OPEX because OPEX is like, you already have that. That was your black hole account. That's where everything went out of automatically. So you can keep that account, but just call it OPEX, operational expenses, and it's what you spend. Income, I would separate though. If you're going to get deposits in, I would want to see how much comes in, how much are we actually making? And if you have lenders funds, they would go from income to number 6, OPM. OPM is other people's money. So if you're going to take private money from someone, you got to treat that like gold. And I would not mix that in with the first 5 accounts. I would give it its own dedicated account. So that way the first 5 are to help run the business. That 6th one is to help run the projects. It's your no Ponzi scheme account. Like, because it's very easy to give a false sense of security in that one big bank account when you get some private money in there, and then you spend all the money and you're like, oh shoot, I've got to go to lender B to finish project A, and here we go, we're going to keep rolling. It's like, I don't want that for you. I want you to stay away from the orange jumpsuit as much as possible. So set up that account, separate out your money. The income and OPEX though, I would like that separate so you can see what's coming in and what's really going out. If you're like, oh my gosh, David, like this is a little bit in depth. Yes, I'm giving you the full system here. Like I have nothing to hide. Like this is what we do with people all the time. Walk them through this and then hold them accountable to this, because being able to have this system in place is at the foundation of keeping more of what you make. But if you're like, oh my gosh, what the heck? Can you set up at least one account from what I told you to? Can you set up at least the owner's comp? To me, that's the taking your pen back account. Like if I can start paying myself consistently and just not spending everything I make, if I can start getting to that habit, that will give you peace of mind. Then you can think about the higher things that you need to, whether that's business growth or whether it's like, should we hire someone? Should we do this? Should we invest in that system? Should we, give to this other cause or charity or whatever it is? That's where, if you're just like, I have no idea where I should start with at least the owner's comp account. I will take questions at the end. I see that, Kristen, in the chat. I promise I'll get there at the end because usually I do get a lot of questions around this time. So I will definitely take care of that for you. So Joey, going back to Joey, he's throughout this whole presentation because just his situation is so great for this and more from the book. Like if you read the book, I have the after story in point number 3. But he sends me this picture almost every year, and he says, like, I'm never going back to one account. He fought us up front. Like, do I have to set up every one of the accounts? Blah, blah. I'm like, did you like where you were like in 2019? First of all, pushing it back in your court. But then number 2 is like, don't you want to be intentional with every dollar? And now that he's been on the system for years, he's like, I'm never going back because of the visibility. As a business owner, the best thing you can do for yourself is give yourself clarity in numbers, in operations, in like every area of your business. The business owners who don't panic when bad times come usually know their numbers, whether it's the financial or the operations or the key metrics on marketing and sales, and they can turn the dials. They know which dials are broken and they know what to go after. This is just going to help you know what's broken. If you have an account for make, spend, and keep, you'll know, is it a make issue? Is it a spend issue? Or am I not keeping what I want to? And that really is hurting me, and that's keeping me up at night. So there you go. Set up one account from here. It's not good enough just to set up the system though. Okay. I can't just tell you set up some bank accounts and everything's going to be magically okay. No, what we need to do is build wealth habits. If you're going to have a wealth formula, we need to install a wealth system so we can have wealth habits so it continuously helps us keep more of what we're making. Because that's why I love this group, because I know that if you're following Tom, keeping more usually means giving more or being out there and helping other people in some sort of fashion. Like Tom, Chuck, like I know some of you personally, and going on those like wheelchair distributions, it's like that to me is why I love doing this. Because whatever keeping means to you, I want that to be able to help you. Do ever, like so many people let the money stop them from what they were born to do. And it's like, I want you to have these wealth habits so you don't wake up one day like most business owners and say, where did all that money go? What the heck happened? I don't know what's happening. And then, then you have to be bailed out. It's like, I don't want that for you. I want you to have some good habits. So here, I'm going to tell you what to do weekly, monthly, and quarterly. So every week, move your money. I would highly suggest that if you have a property or a deal that closes during the week, by Friday of that week, move the money from income to the rest of the accounts. So that way you can at least get in a rhythm of like, okay, I brought money in. Now, where should it go? And you're controlling it. And if you say, I don't do it every week, I don't close deals that often. Whenever you close a deal, just by Friday of the week, you close it. Like Joey, that 2020, he only closed 5 deals. So every quarter or every time that he closed a deal during that quarter, by Friday of that week, we were helping to make sure money was not in income anymore and it was spread out. And most people ask, how much should I put where? What are the percentages? Here's the targets. Depending on if you're selling the property or if you're holding the property, these are the different, like how much you're making are the columns. And then what you should put in the different accounts are the percentages below that. So if you're making from 0 to 250, if this is what you're making, then 5% goes to profit, 50% to owner's pay, 15 tax, 30% operational expenses. These are targets though. These are like the goalpost for each of those accounts. You might not be able to start there. Start where you can, whether that's 1% to profit, owner's comp and tax, and 97% to OPEX, wherever you are now, start on that road. Because some people ask me, like, I'm not even profitable. How the heck can this help me? Like, I can't take any profit. Well, the point is for you as a business owner to know that, okay, I need to install some good habits. And where am I right now? If I'm upside down, how do I get to at least even? So it's like helping you see, okay, if this is the goalpost, where am I now? So that way I can start my journey there. If you want this as well too, I give this at the end as well, the target list, because a lot of people usually ask for this because depending on the size of your business, it changes the percentage. So every month, review your money. So every week was move it, every month review it. Meaning if you've got bank accounts for income, for making, OPEX for spending, and then the golden trio for keeping, you now can see on a monthly basis, just from a high level, what do you make, spend, and keep. And most people don't even do that. So like if you could just go into your bank accounts and see like, what did I spend last month? What came in and what did I keep? Like you'll be ahead of people because you'll usually be able to see if there's a problem in one of those 3 areas. And then you can attack the right problem. We are problem solvers as entrepreneurs, but most of the time we don't know the right problem to solve. This just gives you a very clear view of what needs to be solved in your business. So this is why I'm so adamant about if you're going to go all in, have those accounts, it'll give you better clarity. Then every quarter, take your money. This is the fun part. You did not get into business to just be beating yourself over the head all the time and being like, where did the money go? Or have you ever had someone in your life say, why did you start real estate investing? It's so risky. Or you started real estate investing. I thought this was going to help us. Why is it you're gone all the time? Or like, where's all the money that you said was going to flow in? The profit account is there to number one, help you accomplish your purpose. And number two, to show people like that, hey, this is why I started it. If you put a check in their hand and say, hey, we're going to give some money to this charity that you always wanted to give, or we're going to go out there and do that trip you always wanted to do. It's like, there you go. This is why we do. We start businesses in order to accomplish more of why we believe we were put here. And that's why I want you to have it as a set system on a quarterly basis to take up to 50% from the profit account and have fun with it, whatever fun means to you. I want you to do that. If you do have bad debt, this is the other account too, profit account, that will help you knock down bad debt and get you out of that. If it's keeping you up at night, you should have a system to knock that down too. So I always tell people, use that profit account either for that, if you've got bad debt, or for the fun account until you're, if you're already out of bad debt. So to recap, find what you need to keep, create that wealth system, because it doesn't matter if you just have a wealth formula and then build the wealth habits, because it doesn't matter if you just have the system set up. Now we've got to actually run it on a consistent basis. Then from there, I want you to make sure you can get rid of the pain that we all secretly feel. Making money, feeling broke, what the heck is happening? You don't have to stay there. That does not have to be a constant feeling that you just always feel as a business owner. Because profit is not just about the money, right? It's about the other things in our life. It's about being able to go out on a trip. Like Tom's able to take an awesome trip last week. I bet you it's not because he put a ton on his credit cards and didn't have the money to be able to go out on the trip. He may have used credit cards for points and stuff, but it's like he can pay that off. But it's like this too. For Joey, he said, like 2019 is the orange shirt. I was like, do you want me to show this? He said, yes. Orange shirt is running around like a chicken with my head cut off with no goal, no keep number, no system, no nothing. 2020 is on the right-hand side there. And like, okay, this is me now with doing the hours that I want, with the number of deals that we should do, and like actually not working in the business anymore. And then on the left-hand side, he does triathlons now. Like he's still kept on this years later. He did like 3 last year. I'm like, more power to you. So it's like profit just not just about the money. But this is my favorite side. It is about helping you accomplish what you want to. This is why I've hammered this point so much. Because for Joey, like we know Tom's why he started his business. For Joey, he started for family time and be able to give. Like Joey's our type of people here. And that's where last year, he was able to take a 3-week road trip in an RV he bought with extra tax money that he had saved in his tax account. He gave himself a refund. So he bought the RV and then took a 3-week road trip last year. And then on the right-hand side, he talked about giving to this camp for kids that he was always wanted to start and wanted to get off the ground. And he told me he thought by the end of the year he could give 70,000. So then he sent me that text message on the bottom right hand, and it was over 71,000. So I called him right away. I was like, Joey, like, is that number ring a bell to you? He said, well, yeah, it's a big number. I said, right, but do you remember back, a few years ago what you were in the hole? And he's like, oh, dang. He's like, yeah, I just gave more than what we lost. I'm like, yes, and you didn't touch profit, didn't touch owner's comp, didn't touch the taxes. And that's why I'm so passionate about this. Number one, most people aren't talking about this. And number two, these are the types of things I see over and over again when people start to control their money. Because money touches so many areas of our life. It touches all decisions that we make. Literally, like today, you woke up. Did you put clothes on? Hopefully, or otherwise that might be why your camera's off. It's like wherever you are today, I want you to know that money does not have to be the thing that's blocking you from wherever it is that you want to go or what you want to do. It's like, this is something where if you just put some simple systems in place, it can help you get more clarity. Does that mean I'm going to promise you that there's never going to be hard times? No. What I am promising you, though, is that you'll be able to have solutions anytime a problem does arise, and you're able to go out there and conquer that. So then I'm just going to briefly say here at the end, I want to give you a cheat sheet. It's called the Profit First cheat sheet because I give you several things on it. Do I give the list of what you get? Yes. The Profit First REI book. So if you're like, yes, I need that. I need more info. Give me more. Then the ebook and audiobook you get. But then the first step is to set up Profit First. This is a one-page sheet. I did not want to make it difficult. This is probably information overload. So this sheet is a good way to take away from this and be like, what's the first step I should really do? Because I give you a keep number foreman walkthrough. So it's like very simple. If that's where you need to start there. The bank account setup, what banks I recommend. I give the target allocation percentages too. It's like some of the things that you need just to start out, and then staying consistent. How do we stay consistent weekly, monthly, quarterly? I give you some spreadsheets to manage it as well too, all in that one page, depending on where you are on your Profit First journey. If you're just starting out, I would do that keep number form and just see if you can be on the same page with the other people in your life that care about the money you bring home. Then as far as what we do, because Tom mentioned this, I run a fractional CFO company. Literally, I'm just putting on a financial leader on your team. If you're like, this sounds nuts, like I love this, but there's no way in heck because I'm allergic to spreadsheets and numbers and stuff, then what we do is we come in and hold your hand. We help make sure you have the right financial team. So make sure you have the right bookkeeper, system process person, CPA as well too. We help you implement Profit First. So getting the account set up, holding you accountable, like doing all the analyzation for you from the cash perspective. And we implement a dashboard. Depending on how big you are, we've got two different dashboards. One that's real simple and like, here's the numbers you need to see. Or if you're a really big business, we've got the super in-depth dashboard with all the projections and all that type of stuff, more of an executive package. But we work with people as small as doing like 1 to 5 deals a year. And we work with people that are doing 5 deals a month. It's like, we want to help people. If you're getting on your way to your first $2 million, that's who we help. I don't like working. Most fractional CFOs start at like 5K a month and they work with the big businesses out there. I love this of the people that are just starting out on their journey and like giving you good foundations, giving you good habits right from the beginning. Because then when you get bigger, you'll have more profit. You'll have more cash in your account and you'll be a lot happier that you started this journey. So that's where, if you also get on a call with us too, I have a course, Profit First for Real Estate Investing. I wanted to do this for Tom's group. I love Tom. I want to give as much as humanly possible. So if you get on a call with our team, which is not a sales call, like it's a very low pressure, like, are we the next step? No. Here's some other good people that you need to be connected to in the financial world then. Here's a good bookkeeper. Here's that CPA connection you need. If you just get on a call with our team, I'll give you this course, which goes over it serves one of 3 purposes. Whether you want more information on Profit First, if you want to give this to your team, if you have a bookkeeper so they can know where to put the transactions in real estate. And then number 3, there are modules for the owners of like how to read the profit and loss, how to read the balance sheet, how to read the cash flow statement. Like this is this can be multi-purpose for you depending on where you are in your journey of where you know your financial knowledge is. So there you go. There's a little QR code. So that way, if you're watching the replay, then if you're here live, I could probably just put it in the chat, but it's simplecfo.com/TO, Tom Olson. So thanks for listening. And now I'm going to be able to take the questions and stuff. I know Kristen had at least one. And then I know Tom probably has a few as well, too, because he was asking about, the business and stuff. But now I'll be able to answer questions for a few minutes. So I will stop sharing my screen. And Tom,
Awesome.
again, thank you for having me come on, for
Thanks
believing
for
in me all these years, and how you pull, like I said, how you poured into me
I
all
have
these years as well.
I've heard Dave do a similar presentation to this, I don't know, 5 or 6 times, but every single time I hear it, there's something else that I hear that's a little different, or he says it a little different, or maybe I just don't listen really well the last time. I don't know. But it was important, I think, to point out that the number one reason why people go out of business is because they run out of cash. And that's kind of like, I actually think that it should be a healthy fear in entrepreneurs, but
Yeah.
it's surprisingly not. Like that really, that mean, Dave,
Yeah.
like, I mean, this is how I think, like to me, it's like that's a fear that definitely comes across my mind, from time to time. And it's for me, it's like kind of cyclical. Like it seems like
Yep.
every year there's like a time of the year where things just are tighter than they're supposed to be. You don't feel like they should be that way. And then, to me, I'm glad that I set up systems a long time ago to make sure
Yeah.
that we had cash, to make sure that we didn't spend everything that we had when we were given opportunities with different, ways to be able to get our hands on cash. Um, but I thought that was really cool. And then even
I have
the
to say, I want to say one thing there is that I love your group and you, because how many times have I done this presentation before and then the leaders reaching out to me afterwards because they're like, yeah, I need help with this. Like I'm running around like a chicken with my head cut off. But yeah, you've set up the systems, you've proved that, and I love the leadership that you take here on this front.
and I like profit first. As far as like a whole book, and the book, Michael's book before Dave's, and Dave wrote a great book. I actually think Dave's stories are better than Michael's books. But with profit first. But he also wrote another great book too, guys. Fix This Next. I think
Oh
it's
yeah.
in my opinion, it's better than Profit First, but I love Profit First. I like Dave's book too. Dave, do you remember the book recommendation that you gave to me years ago? And you said it was the best book on doing your numbers in your business that you've
Oh
ever had.
yeah. Accounting
And
for the number phobic.
accounting for the number phobic. And I was
Yeah.
like, and I have to agree. Like if you want to try to do some of this stuff yourself, like that is a great book to
Yes.
try to understand how everything works in your business. And I keep writing Crucial Conversations down. I haven't read that book, so I'm definitely going to make sure that I I don't know why I haven't read that book. But I've heard you mention that. Take your pen back several times. Thanks for being on. Thanks for investing in our community today.
Yeah.
I did want to get to Christian's question, and I
Yep.
do think this is a good question because I've heard it asked many times. Can you
Yep.
explain the difference between the owner's comp and the profit account one more time?
A lot of people think, well, those keep accounts, well, isn't that all my money? Isn't that really like my profit? Okay, first of all, how many times have you gone to a new group and you don't understand their language, right? It's like same thing in the accounting world. It's a different language. What I'm talking about today, profit first, is all the language of cash. So when I say a profit account, that's an actual bank account named profit, and there's an actual bank account named owner's comp, and they serve two different functions. Profit to me is taken quarterly. That's the difference. Frequency is one of the big differences. You take it quarterly, and for whatever the heck you want, like you get to save that up and be like, I want that boat. Boom. I buy it from profit and I don't ruin the business. It's like I take that money and do whatever I want with from profit on a quarterly basis, usually up to 50%. I don't like to drain that account because I like to have some cash buffers inside of those accounts. This owner's comp is the work you do in the business. Remember how I said the need and want number? This is like if you're just getting started here and you're getting rolling, like what do I need to pay myself consistently to either quit my W-2 or if I'm full-time in real estate to stop worrying about if I can buy groceries or not. Like the owner's comp is to pay myself consistently. So the frequency there is weekly, bi-weekly, monthly. It's more consistent than the profit account of when you take withdrawals. Profit's more a bonus, where the owner's comp is more the pay I do for the work of the business that I do inside of the business. Because when you're smaller, you do a lot of work in the business, right? That's a very hot, like cliched statement now, right? In versus on. I'd rather be working on my business. Well, as you get bigger, your percentage goes down of what you're paying yourself because you're getting a smaller piece of a bigger pie and you're bringing on team members. So OPEX grows while your percentage goes a little bit down, but you're now not the one in it all the time. So hopefully that was helpful, Kristen.
So, Kristen, if that doesn't explain it, please put it in the chat.
Yeah.
I think to put it into a traditional sense of what we're used to hearing, um, I the way, again, correct me if I'm wrong, but this is how I look at it. I
Yeah.
look at the owner's comp. That's your salary. Like, this is what
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
paying myself, just like as a W. And I actually pay myself in my every one of my companies. I get a W-2 from every one of my companies. Um, uh, and so like that's owner's comp. Profit would be like a distribution. Like if your company were to give you a distribution, the difference in what Dave is doing is he's turning that kind of upside down and saying you need to take this first. This is like this is the first part of your business. This isn't like most people think of profit as what they get to take at the end if they actually don't spend more than they make. Right?
We are not venture capital businesses. People aren't pouring millions of dollars into us. So all those examples you hear of those types of businesses do not apply to us. What applies to us is that we need to make sure that we have our own profitability, that we are scaling an actual business that is serving us versus us just being taken for a ride on there. Okay, Kristen, that does make sense. Thank you. Appreciate that feedback. And thank you, Chuck. I've seen Chuck on so many different things, and like it's like I really appreciate your contribution and then also how it's changed your life as well too.
Yeah. Chuck said he used to have the black hole account, clueless about his own income
Yep.
expenses, and he implemented David's system and literally enabled him to live the life that he had dreamed for many, many years. So
Chuck, do you mind if I use that? If I copy that? That's so good. Like I want to scrape that if you're okay with it.
that's
I'm sure
awesome.
they'll
Chuck's
like
actually going to be a speaker at our
it.
free for all event, Dave. Um,
Awesome, good.
I don't think you were at Dealmaker, but he kind of stole the show at Dealmaker, and I'm excited to have him as part of our community as well too here. So I want to thank you again, Dave, for if anybody has any more questions, please feel free to throw them in the chat. Can you go back? I just have the one question
Yeah,
to go back on the CFOs.
yeah,
Um, and because this is a question I get a lot of times from a lot of different people, um, people will tell me like, and again, like for me, because it's such an important piece in my life, like because it's important for me not to run out of cash,
yeah,
I actually have a team of bookkeepers in my business.
yes,
I mean,
good.
I have one, two, three, four people that like 90% of their job is bookkeeping in all of my businesses. But most people don't have that, right? And I think there's two reasons. First of all, I don't think we don't trust people. I think it's hard for us to actually trust, and it's hard for us to find people that we can actually trust to like take
Yeah,
over, right, Dave? I mean, I'm sure even you probably struggle with even that piece, having your business.
right.
And
Yep.
then the other thing is we don't think we can pay for it, right? I mean,
Yeah.
those are the two excuses I get when I say, well, why don't you hire a bookkeeper? Um, so maybe so to me, this is how I see this. And Dave, please correct me if I'm wrong here, but I feel like this is kind of like a bridge. Like if you don't have enough money to pay a full-time bookkeeper, if you don't have and if you want somebody that's high integrity and high trust, it comes highly recommended by me and many other people that says, hey, you can actually trust this company, that's where I feel like Simple CFO fits that little mold there and that little in between, at kind of like being that virtual CFO. They're not going to be somebody that's going to be sitting in your office 24/7. You're not going to have access to them like all the time, but I'm assuming there's some kind of weekly, catch up or some kind of, time frame that they're available to you to that business.
So yeah, I love how you put that, a bridge. That's really what we want to be. And honestly, we're even a bridge to even your the people you might be paying 5,000 a month before you have a full-time CFO. Like when people come to us, it's usually they need a good foundation laid. They've never had a good foundation like we talked about here. It is hooking you up with the right bookkeeper. It's managing them for you so you don't have to, because most entrepreneurs don't know how to manage that side. Tom loves spreadsheets, so Tom loves diving into the numbers. A lot of people don't, and I get that. So it's like we take over that management. We also implement profit first, hold your hand through that, and give you some dashboards, give you some making sure you have a GPS in your business. A lot of the bookkeeping and CPA type stuff is the rear view mirror, which is important. I need to be able to back up if I need to, but I also need to be able to get where I'm going. And that's where we do have different levels, Tom, too. Like we also now have a quarterly level. So it's like depending on how often you need to meet with us, how big you are, the first 60 days is always what we call in the foundation where there are weekly meetings with the CFO. Then past day 60, it depends on what type of support you need. If you need a lower level service, we've got a quarterly option all the way up to weekly, depending on how big you are and what the needs of that business is. And we've made it very affordable because I've just seen this. So many people are just craving, like, I want to know the numbers. I just don't know where to start. I don't know what to do. I don't know how to keep more cash. I've had bad habits in my personal life. Like, what do I do? Will you help with the personal side? Like, I've heard all the different questions. So yeah, that's what we're doing, and just trying to make sure you have someone in your corner that understands where you're coming from.
Yeah, so hopefully that helps everybody. If you guys are interested in that, is it simplecfo.com? They can find out
Yeah.
more information.
If
I know
you could
that.
go there, if you go to the simplecfo.com/TO, if you want to book that call, it's on the right
There you
after
go.
you fill the
Yes.
info in. So
Yeah.
do
So
that.
if you guys want to put that back in the chat real quick,
Yeah.
simplecfo.com/TO, that will get you the free call. And again, like this isn't like a sales pitchy thing. But to me, like I can promise you this is a need in real estate investing. And whether you're watching this live or you're watching this on the back end, if you think you need this, then you probably need this. And there's like, this is simple and it's free. So like at least take the opportunity to have a phone call with Dave and see if he can help you. So that's going to do it for today, guys. Appreciate Dave coming on and being a guest. And
Yeah.
like I said, I learn something every single time I get on these calls myself. I learn something every single time I go on a cruise. I learn something every time I go to a deal maker. I learn something every time I get on these calls myself too. And if nothing else, it's good to kind of make it a reminder. I even love the whole sales minus profit equals expenses really is the same thing as work to have to give. It really
Yes.
is like
Yeah.
sales is work, right? Have is profit, give
Yep.
is expenses. And who do you normally give all your money to? You give it all to all your expenses.
Right.
But you can kind of order your life that way. And I love the way that whole thing. I didn't plan that. I didn't even think about that until this call. So I appreciate you, Dave, for being on. Again, like I highly recommend Dave. Dave is a friend of mine, high integrity, and you can't go wrong with anything you're doing with Dave there. So next call, May 14th. 10 a.m. Central. Dan Safalski is going to talk about building wealth with creating real estate notes. And I'm excited to hear him. So hopefully you guys can make it May 14th. If you guys are local, we have some local people on the call this time that come to our meetup group. Our next meetup group is next Thursday, not in 2 days from today, but next Thursday, 6 p.m. Kevin Femley, not Femley. I have so many Kevins in my life. Kevin Hutnick is actually going to be with us talking about the way the new NAR situations kind of shaking out with realtors and with real estate investors. But also he's built himself a nice little portfolio. He's got about 60 or 70 free and clear cash flowing rentals. And he's somebody you definitely want to know, and definitely somebody that you want to learn from. Plus, we'll have a great time with our Have and Want board. And we'd love to be able to have you. If you guys have never been to a meetup group in your local, goodsuccess.com to find out more information about it. And we'll see you guys here. That's going to do it for today, guys. Remember to be a conduit, not a bucket. Work to have to give. God bless everybody. Have a good day. Thanks, Dave.